In this video, we are going to start with question 1. We are going to start with question 1. And without wasting any time, let's go ahead and work on question 1.1. 1.1. So we are told that David runs a small motorcycle service business from home. Given below is the budget drawn up by him for the new month. So we can see that the budget comprises of income and expenses, and we also have the amount column. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on our first set of questions. So we'll start with question 1.1.1. So question 1.1.1 says that calculate David's total income for the month. So if we look at total income, we can see that it is not given, but we can see what comprises of total income. Okay, so we can see that on the income column we have 26 motorcycle services and we have 25 car washes. So our total income, we will just have to add the two. So it will be 33,150 plus 1,625. And then now we can be able to get our total income. So it will be 33,150 plus 1,625, and our total income will be 34,775. Okay, so now let's move to the next question, which is question 1.1.2. 1.1.2. So question 1.1.2 says that determine the amount charged per motorcycle service. So if we again look at the income column, we can see that 26 motorcycle services, meaning that he serviced 26 motorcycles, and the total amount were 33,150, meaning that to check how much one cost, we just need to come and say 33,150 divided by 26, and then we'll be able to see the price of one motorcycle service. Okay, so it's 33,150 divided by 26. So now we can be able to see that to service one motorcycle, it costs 1,275. Okay, so now let's move to the next question, which is question 1.1.3. 1.1.3. So question 1.1.3 says that calculate the amount spent on motorcycle parts. So now we are moving to expenses. So we can see that we have motorcycle parts, so that amount is missing. But then we are given the total expenses, meaning that if we subtract everything else on total expenses, we can be able to get the missing value for motorcycle parts. So we need to come and say 7,927.86. So this is total expenses, and then subtract everything else so that we can be able to get the amount for motorcycle parts. So we'll come and subtract 375 and then subtract again 850.25 and then subtract again 1,500, and then the answer that we will get, or the amount that we will get, it will be for motorcycle parts. So it's 7,927.86 minus 375 minus 850.25 minus 1,500, and we can see that the amount for motorcycle parts will be 5,202.61. Okay, so now let's move to question 1.1.4. So question 1.1.4 says that calculate what percentage of total expenses David spends on water. So here we are told that we need to calculate what percentage. And always remember that if we are calculating a percentage, we always need to multiply by 100, so that the answer that we get is in the percentage form. Okay, so now we are told to calculate what percentage of total expenses David spent on water. So basically they are saying that on total expenses, what percentage did David spend on water? So we need to come and say total expenses So water divided by total expenses, multiply by 100 because we are looking for the percentage. So the amount for waterway was 850.25 divided by our total expenses, which is 7,927.86 multiplied by 100. So now we just need to plug this on our calculator to get our percentage. Okay, so we'll come and say 850.25 divided by 7,927.86 multiplied by 100, and our answer will be 10.72%. So we multiply by 100, so our answer needs to be in a percentage form. Okay, and that brings us to the end of question 1.1, and we'll be moving to question 1.2. So before we do that, we can just create a bit of space. We can just create a bit of space. Don't forget to like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, also don't forget to subscribe, so that when we post new content, you will be the first to be alerted that there is a new video that has been posted on the channel. Okay, so now let's move to question 1.2. Let's move to question 1.2. So we are told that table 1 below shows the toll gate tariffs for the N1 road. So by tariff, they are referring to the cost or the price. Okay, so if we look at table 1, we can see that we have the toll gate column, and then we have class 1, class 2, class 3, and class 4. And we can also see underneath that vehicle classes are shown. So class 1, you can see that these are mini buses, a motorcycle, a small vehicle, and a vehicle that is carrying a caravan. So they all fall under class 1. Okay, and class 2, class 3, and class 4 are also shown. So let's go ahead and start working on our first set of questions. So question 1.2.1 says that determine the cost of traveling by car, towing a caravan, and then at the Grasmere main line toll gate. So a car towing a caravan, so we can see that a car towing a caravan also falls under class 1. Okay, so they are saying that determine the cost of traveling by car, towing a caravan at the Grasmere main line toll gate. So our answer will be, so we just go to Grasmere main line toll gate and then check under class 1 column. So we can see that the price will be 22 rand 50 cents. So it will cost 22 rand 50 cents. Okay, so now let's move to the next question, which is question 1.2.2. So question 1.2.2 says that if the cost of traveling by motorbike was 74.50, write down which toll gate was used. So what we need to check first is that motorbike falls under class 1. So now we need to go on class 1 and see the toll gate, which costs 74.50 Rand. And if we do that, we can see that the toll gate name will be Vaal Plaza. Vaal Plaza main line. So this is the name of the toll gate. So now let's move to question 1.2.3. 1.2.3. So question 1.2.3 says that write down the tariff for the Vaal Plaza class 2 rates. So Vaal Plaza class 2 rates, it is 140. So it's 140. Okay. And then we are also told to write it as a simplified ratio to the class 4 rates of the same plaza. So we are writing class 2 Vaal Plaza and then class 4. So class 4, if you go to class 4, we can see that it costs 225. So once we are told to write something as a ratio, don't forget these 2 dots that comes in the middle. So once they say 2, just remember to write down the 2 dots. So now we are told to write it as a simplified ratio. So if we are writing something as a simplified ratio, it means that what we need to find a factor that when we divide by it, we will get a whole number. We will get a whole number. Okay, so first we need to find the factors of, factors of either numbers. So we can say the factors of 225. So we know that if we want the factors of 225, so by the factors, they mean that 2 numbers that when we multiply them, they will give us 225. So it's 2 numbers that if we multiply them together, they will give us 225. So if we multiply 9 by 25, this gives us 225. So these are the factors. And to get the factors, guys, you just come to your calculator. So you can easily say 225 equals to, and then fact. And then we can see that we have 3 and 5. So it's 3 to the power 5 and 5 to the power 2. And again, to get the factors easily, we can easily come. So we can see that we are given, so it's equals to, so it's 225 equals to, we can see that we are also given 3 multiplied by 5. So if we take this 5 again, if we take the 5, if we come and say 225 divided by 5, so it's this 5. We can see that 5 is also a factor of 225. Okay, so we can see that 5 is also a factor of 225. And then we know that the answer that we get needs to be a whole number. So if we come here and say divide by 5, remember that what we do on our left hand side, we also need to do it on our right hand side, meaning that we will also divide by 5. And by simplified form, they mean that the answer that we get must not have any commas. So we can just come and say 225 divided by 5. 225 divided by 5, our answer will be 45. 45 is to 140 divided by 5, our answer is 28. So we can see that both answers does not have any commas. So we can simply say that this is our simplified form. This is our simplified form. And if we used one of the two factors as well, remember 9 and 25, when we multiply them, they also give us 225. So if we divide by 25, so it's 225 divided by 25, we will get 9. Okay, remember what we do on our right hand side, we also need to do it on our left hand side. But if we divide 140 by 225, we will get 5.6, meaning that our answer won't be in its simplified form. Okay, that's why we ended up using 5. Okay, so now let's move to our next question, which is question 1.2.4. 1.2.4. So question 1.2.4 says that calculate the cost of a return trip for a class 4 vehicle going through the Verkeerdevlei toll gate. So the last toll gate is Verkeerdevlei toll gate. So we can see that it costs 271 for class 4. So remember the question says that for a return trip, meaning that it is going and going back. So you will pay while going and then pay while going back again. So we can just say plus 271, or we can just multiply by 2, either way. So if we add the 2, so it's 271 plus 271, the cost will be 542. So it will cost 542. Okay, so now let's move to our next set of questions, which are question 1.3. Now let's move to question 1.3. Maybe we can just create a bit of space. We can just create a bit of space. And don't forget that we do have extra classes, guys. And if you want, or if you would like to join our extra classes, you can just send a message, a WhatsApp message on the numbers that you are seeing on the screen, and then we will be able to add you on the group. And our extra classes are very affordable. We only charge 80 Rand per month. Okay, so now let's move to question 1.3. So we are told that the graph given below shows the favorite movie genres of a group of 220 students. Okay, so there are favorite movies genres. So we have science fiction, we have romance, we have action, we have thriller, and we also have comedy. Okay, so now let's go ahead and work on our set of questions. So we are told to use the information above to answer the questions that follows. So we will start with question 1.3.1. So question 1.3.1 says that name the type of graph represented above. So this is straightforward. This is a pie chart. Okay, so now let's move to the next question, which is question 1.3.2. So question 1.3.2 says that calculate the percentage of students that prefer comedy. So the percentage of students that prefer comedy is not given, but the total percentages needs to be equals to 100, meaning that if we subtract each genre's percentage, we should be able to get the missing value for comedy. So now we'll just come and subtract from 100. So we'll subtract 6 for science fiction, subtract 24 for romance, subtract 11 for thriller, and 21 for action. And the answer that we get should be the percentage of comedy. So it will be 100 minus 6 minus 24 minus 11 minus 21. And we can easily see that the percentage would be 38%. So this is for comedy. So the total percentage is equals to 100, meaning that if you have one missing value, we can be able to calculate the missing value percentage. That's what we did. Okay, so now let's go ahead and work on our final question for question 1, which is question 1.3.3. So question 1.3.3 says that determine the number of students that prefer romance movies. So we know that in total we have 220 students. So to calculate the percentage, the number of students that prefers romance, we just multiply by 24%, or we can just say 24 divided by 100. So it's one and the same thing. So the answer that we will get here would be the number of students that prefers romance. So it's 220 multiplied by 24%. And our answer will be 52.8. And remember that the number of students needs to be discrete, meaning that it needs to be a whole number. So we can't have 52.8 students. So we need to round it up. So because we have 8 here, it means that when we round it up, we will have 53 students. That we will have 53 students. And that brings us to the end of question 1. Don't forget to like the video if you haven't, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't.